recognize Representative Robert Ace Barbers, Chairperson of the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, for his sponsorship speech.
The Honorable Ace Barbers is recognized to deliver his speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues and distinguished guests, it is my honor and privilege to stand before this august body to present the progress report of the Joint Committees on Dangerous Drugs, Public Order and Safety, Public Accounts, and Human Rights, or what is now popularly known as the Quad Committee. This report is not merely an account of our work, Mr. Speaker. It is a solemn commitment to uncovering the truth, upholding justice, and crafting meaningful legislative solutions to address the scourges of illegal drug proliferation, unlawful land acquisition by foreigners, crimes linked to Philippine offshore gaming operators or POGOs, and extrajudicial killings. The formation of the Quad Committee was inevitable. The House of Representatives, under the leadership of Speaker Martin Romualdez, recognized the complexities of these issues required a united and comprehensive approach. Thus, through House Resolution number 1880, the Quad Committee was brought to life. What began as a separate investigations by individual committees soon uncovered a web of interconnections, a Pandora's box of crimes and abuses that tested the very foundations of our institutions. One of the most alarming discoveries stemmed from a routine investigation into the 3.9 billion drug bust in San Jose, Malino, Mexico, Pampanga. The probe unearthed the illicit operations of Empire 999, a company owned by foreign nationals masquerading as Filipino citizens. This led to the revelations of massive illegal land acquisitions involving hundreds of hectares of agricultural lands in direct violation of our Constitution. It further exposed suspicious ties between local government officials and foreign syndicates, pointing to corruption and systemic exploitation. Mr. Speaker, our inquiry delved deeper into the operations of these entities and uncovered an even more sinister reality. Their connections to the illegal drug trade and organized crime activities facilitated by POGOs. What was initially presented as a revenue-generating industry has instead become a breeding ground for illegal activities such as human trafficking, money laundering, investment scams, cybercrimes, and even murder. Sa ating investigasyon, Mr. Speaker, ay nakita natin na ang modus operandi ng mga POGOs ay gumamit ng mga Pilipinong dummies bilang mga nominal na may-ari upang magtatag ng mga korporasyon na nagpapahintulot sa mga dayuhan na iwasan ang mga batas na naglilimita sa pagmamay-ari at operasyon sa mga industriya tulad ng gaming at real estate. Ang mga korporasyong ito ay may mga magkakaugnay na layers upang itago ang tunay na pinagmulan ng pondo at pagkakakilanlan ng mga operators na nagpapahirap sa mga otoridad na masubaybayan ang mga iligal na mga aktibidad. Mr. Speaker, ang mga POGOs na ito ay naguhugas ng pera mula sa mga krimen tulad ng human trafficking, illegal na pagsusugal, bentahan ng droga at cybercrimes sa pamamagitan ng pagpapadaan ng pondo sa mga bank account, pagbili ng ari-arian at iba pang mga instrumentong pinansyal na pinapalabas na lehitimong operasyon ng kanilang mga negosyo. Ang ganitong layering ay hindi lamang nagtatago sa iligal na pinagmulan ng pondo, kundi pinapaliit din ang binabayarang buwis at pinoprotektahan ang mga operator mula sa pagkakadiskubre. Mr. Speaker, karaniwang pinapadali ang mga iskim na ito ng mga tiwaling opisyal at empleyado ng ating gobyerno, ng ating mga regulatory agencies at mga institusyong pinansyal kapalit ng suhol na naglalagay sa peligro ng sistema ng batas at pananalapi sa ating bansa. But perhaps the most chilling revelations, Mr. Speaker, pertains to the extrajudicial killings that have scarred our nation's history. The investigations brought to light a harrowing narrative of abuse of power and institutional impunity during the Duterte administration. Witness testimonies corroborated by evidence revealed a system that incentivized the killing of suspected drug personalities, a system modeled after the so-called Davao template and replicated nationwide. Mr. Speaker, this is not merely a report of the past wrongdoings, but a call to action. The Quad Committee has responded by filing concrete legislative measures aimed at addressing the gaps in our legal framework. Number 1, House Bill number 10986, classifying and penalizing extrajudicial killings as heinous crime while providing reparations for its victims. Number 2, House Bill number 10987, prohibiting all forms of offshore gaming operations in the country with severe penalties for violations. Number 3, House Bill number 11043, allowing civil forfeiture of unlawfully acquired real estate properties by foreign nationals. Number 4, House Bill number 11117, providing for the administrative cancellation of birth certificates fraudulently obtained by foreign nationals. In addition to these proposed bills, Mr. Speaker, our inquiries have already yielded significant actions. Number 1, the Joint Committee inquiry prompted authorities to reopen investigations into the murders of Police General Wesley Barayuga, former Albuera Leyte Mayor Rolando Espinosa, and 3 Chinese nationals killed inside the Davao prison in Penal Farm. 2, the certificate of registration of or incorporation of Empire 999 Realty Corporation was revoked by the SEC. Number 3, the Philippine passport of Mr. Kai Kimeng, also known as Mr. Willie Ong, and Yang Jiazheng, also known as AD Tai Yang, were canceled by the concerned government agencies. The findings of the Joint Committee led to the filing of legal cases against Go Waping, also known as Alice Leal Go, including charges of human trafficking and graft and corruption. Number 5, the chairperson of the PAOK directed the Anti-Money Laundering Council to file for court-issued freeze orders or provisional asset preservation orders against assets linked to unlawful activities. These include the following corporations: Lucky South Limited Corporation, Whirlwind Corporation, Biancham Holdings and Trading Incorporated, Empire 999 Realty Corporation, Sunflare Industrial Supply Corporation, Yatay Industrial Park Incorporated, Mexico 999 Industry Realty and Development Corporation. These actions underscore the progress achieved through our investigations in addressing systemic crimes and abuses. We have also recommended, Mr. Speaker, amendments to relevant laws, including the Anti-Money Laundering Act, the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act, the Civil Registry Law, the Anti-Dummy Law, the Bank Secrecy Law, the New Philippine Passport Act, the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act, the Cybercrime Prevention Act, the Tariff and Customs Code, the Revised Corporation Code, and the Local Government Code, among others. Mr. Speaker, in total, we have recommended at least 30 proposed legislations, and these measures aim to strengthen our legal frameworks and ensure that such abuses and misdeeds are prevented in the future. The Quad Comm likewise recommends the filing of appropriate charges against the following. Number 1, personalities linked to the illegal drug trade, particularly those implicated in the seizure of 360 kilograms of shabu in Mexico, Pampanga, Kai Kimeng alias also known as Willie Ong, Yang Jiazheng, also known as Edi Taiyang, Mayor Teddy Tumang, and all the incorporators of Empire 999. Number 2, perpetrators of crimes against humanity under Section 6 of Republic Act 9851 or the Philippine Act on Crimes Against International Humanitarian Law, Genocide, and Other Crimes Against Humanity. Former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Senator Roland Bato de la Rosa, Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo, former PNP Chief Oscar David Albayalde, former PNP Chief Debold Sinas, Police Colonel Royina Garma, Police Colonel Edilberto Leonardo, and Hermina Muking Espino. Number 3, the co-conspirators in the murder of Chu Kintung, Li Lanyang, and Wong Mengpin, the 3 Chinese nationals killed inside the Davao Penal Prison and Penal Farm on August 13 of 2016. Former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Police Colonel Royina Garma, Police Colonel Edilberto Leonardo, SPO4 Arthur Narsolis, and Superintendent Gerardo Padilla. Number 4, individuals involved in the murder of General Wesley Barayuga, Police Colonel Royina Garma, Police Colonel Edilberto Leonardo, Police Lieutenant Colonel Santi Mendoza, former PNP Officer Nelson Mariano, PSMS Jeremy Tox Kausapin, and 1 alias Loloy. Moreover, Mr. Speaker, further investigations should be conducted against, but not limited to, the following individuals. Number 1, personalities implicated in the illegal drug trade in relation to the revelations provided by resource persons Jimmy Guban and Mark Taguba, Representative Paulo Duterte, Councilor Nilo Abilera Jr., Mr. Paul Gutierrez, Mr. Benny Antiporda, Mr. Jojo Bacud, a certain Tita Nani, and Mr. Allen Capuyan. Number 2, personalities identified to be involved in the illegal drug trade during the course of the legislative hearings: Hong Mingyang, also known as Michael Yang; Wei Xiong Lin, also known as Alan Lim; Charlie Tan, and Mr. Sammy Uy. Number 3, personalities involved in POGO-related illegal activities: Attorney Herminio Harry Roque Jr., Catherine Cassandra Leong, Go Waping, or also known as Alice Leal Go, Yang Jian Sin, also known as Tony Yang, and Hong Jiang Yang, the younger brother of Tony Yang and Michael Yang. Mr. Speaker, our work is far from over. The Quad Committee's progress thus far is a testament to what we can achieve when we confront corruption and criminality with courage and resolve. However, it also underscores the magnitude of the challenges we face. This is a defining moment for this Congress, Mr. Speaker. It is an opportunity to uphold the rule of law, protect our nation's sovereignty, and deliver justice to those who have been wronged. I urge my fellow legislators to give this report the attention it deserves and to support the proposed measures that will ensure these injustices are never repeated. Together, let us take the necessary steps to restore faith in our institutions and reaffirm our commitment to the Filipino people. Maraming salamat.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Bienvenido M. Abante Jr., Chairperson of the Committee on Human Rights, to deliver his sponsorship speech.
The Honorable Abante is recognized to deliver his sponsorship speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker and distinguished colleagues in Congress, at lahat po ng ating mga kababayan na nakikinig dito at sa ating website ngayong hapon na ito. Gusto ko lang pong sabihin unang-una, Mr. Speaker, the time of reckoning has come. Nakalagay po sa Matthew chapter 7 and verse number 2. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. Kung iniisip po natin na magagawa mo ang gusto mong gawin, na hindi mo sinusunod ang saligang batas, dahil nasa kapangyarihan ka, nais kong sabihin, Mr. Speaker, na matatapos din ang mga bagay na yan at ikaw ay hatulan ng taong bayan. Ito pong House of Representatives ay ang bahay po ng taong bayan. Sapagkat tayong lahat ay inelect ng taong bayan upang tayo ay magbusisi ng lahat ng katiwalaang nangyayari sa ating pamahalaan. I consider this a divine blessing to be able to rise today as the chair of the House Committee on Human Rights and co-chair of the Quad Committee to share the initial findings and recommendations of our inquiry, particularly into the extrajudicial killings that occurred during the previous administration's war on drugs. Inuulit ko po, Mr. Speaker, kakampi ako ng dating administrasyon kapag pinag-uusapan po ang pag-alis ng droga sa ating bansa. Sinabi ko po ito sa ating dating Pangulo, ang hindi ko lang maintindihan kung bakit kinakailangan merong mapatay na more than 30,000 people upang mawala ang drugs na ito. Nawala ba ang drugs? Hindi. Nandun pa rin, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, there is a season for everything and a time for every purpose under the heaven, as made clear by the Lord in chapter 3 of the book of Ecclesiastes. This is the most opportune time for the Joint Committee on Dangerous Drugs, Public Order and Safety, Public Accounts, and the Committee on Human Rights to present to you a progress report on our inquiry in aid of legislation. After 13 rigorous and thorough hearings of the so-called Quad Committee, we are confident that we have gathered substantial findings backed by competent evidence to make the requisite recommendations to this legislative body and to the appropriate government agencies for appropriate and decisive action. There was systematic violation of human rights and blatant disregard of due process. The deep probe into the extrajudicial killings, or EJKs, that occurred during the administration of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's war on drugs yielded a far deeper tragedy into the lives of the Filipino people rather than the protection and preservation thereof that it was heralded to accomplish. The numbers, Mr. Speaker and my dear colleagues, speak the scary truth. According to data from the Philippine National Police from July 1, 2016 to June 30 of 2022, 7,640 individuals were killed in official police operations. Of these documented deaths, 7,173 were drug pushers, 440 were drug users that should have been rehabilitated, not killed, and only 21 were drug lords. Mr. Speaker, from as far back as May 15, 2024, when my committee started digging into the EJ case, we had been presented with multiple reports indicating that there had been massive nationwide drug-related killings within the period July 2016 to June 2022. The killings were classified either as police operations or perpetrated by unknown perpetrators, which is no different from the Sinaloa type of killings in Latin America, which were notorious at the time, the drug cartel in Latin America. The 2017 year-end accomplishment report of the Duterte administration highlighted as key accomplishments, my dear Speaker, the deaths of 3,967 drug personalities and 16,355 homicide cases under investigation as of 30 September 2017. The PNP reported that there was a total of 7,640 illegal drug suspects who died in police operations, 2,053 of which were recorded in the first 6 months of the Duterte presidency from July to December 2016. No less than the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights noted that there were at least 8,663 drug-related killings as of February of 2019, while academic research, the HUS Project of the Third World Studies, University of the Philippines, gathered around 5,348 recorded deaths. The Free Legal Assistance Group cited unassailable data in a Supreme Court en banc extended resolution that indicated that the Duterte administration's anti-drug war from July 1, 2016 to November 27, 2017 recorded a staggering total of 20,322 deaths, or a daily average of 39.46 deaths. Mr. Speaker, and my dear colleagues, was the war on drugs truly aimed at dismantling the drug syndicates and put an end to this illegal and immoral trade? Or was it an all-out assault on the poor and vulnerable to cover up the former? Gusto ba talaga nitong durugin ang mga drug lords at ang illegal drug industry? O durugin lamang ang mga mahihirap upang pagtakpan ang mga may kinalaman o kaugnayan sa problemang ito? Clearly, the war on drugs, while touted as the formidable solution to the country's drug menace, had resulted in the systematic violations of our constitutional rights to life, human dignity, and due process. Ang sagradong buhay na tanging bigay ng poong may kapal ay hindi kailanman dapat pawiin ng sinuman. Ang sabi po ng Diyos, "Thou shalt not kill." But the war on drugs resonated a policy of kill, kill, kill. As the former president has always said, shoot them dead. The role of leadership in a culture of impunity. How did we get here? Paano ito nangyari? One cannot look at all the evidence and not come to this credible and undeniable conclusion that former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's public pronouncements encouraged, facilitated, and normalized the killings and emboldened some of our policemen who are supposed to be the protectors of the people to carry out the same. His release of unverified narco lists further exacerbated the violence as individuals were targeted based on flawed, inconsistent, and malicious information. Isa sa mga biktima nito, si former Iloilo City Mayor Jed Patrick Mabilog. In 2014, then Mayor Mabilog was named as I quote, top 5 best and outstanding mayors in the world. In the 2014 World Mayor Awards, mula sa short list ng best mayors in the world na isama sa drug list ni Pangulong Duterte, nasira ang pangalan ni Mayor Mabilog. He was forced to relocate himself and his family to a foreign land, and he was threatened with death, all because of unverified, unreliable list. We discovered, Mr. Speaker and my dear colleagues, that the previous administration's war on drugs was fueled by a perverse reward system that incentivized extrajudicial killings under what we now know as the Davao model. Ano ang Davao model? Under this system, police officers were given monetary rewards for killing drug suspects, transforming the duty of law enforcement from a system driven by justice into a system driven by bounties. Testimonies from Police Lieutenant Colonel Jovi Espinido, Police Colonel Ruyima Garma, and other officials confirm the existence of this system. Malinaw ang testimonya nila. Salapi ng sagradong buhay, Mr. Speaker. In a civilized society that upholds the rule of law and due process, there is no rhyme or reason for such diabolical attacks on the sanctity of life on every human being. But it was President Duterte himself who provided the legal cover for those killings. The narrative of nanlaban or fought back became the legal justification for these operations, as PRRD himself encouraged officers to provoke suspects into resisting arrest, which was he admitted in one of the hearings conducted, providing legal cover for the use of lethal force. That's the reason why I even asked the question to our former president, was your policy a personal policy, or was it based upon the Constitution? There was a grand conspiracy. In the course of our hearings, we exposed disturbing cases where killings were carried out for monetary rewards or as part of orchestrated operations. First, the 3 Chinese nationals and convicted drug lords, Chu Kin-tung, Li Lanyang, and Wong Mengpin, were killed under orders for a payment of 1 million pesos per person. During our hearings, person deprived of liberty, Leopoldo Tan, testified that former President Duterte personally congratulated officials involved, saying, and I quote, "Congrats, Superintendent Padilla, job well done." Pero grabe yung ginawang dinuguan. End of quote. Alam ko, ibabas na naman ako na ma-DDS pagkatapos nito. Gusto kong makinig kayong lahat. Alamin nyo nung muna ang batas. bago nyo kami murahin, bago nyo kami latiin, alamin nyo muna ang batas, sapagkat dito po sa house na ito ay pinaglalaban namin hindi lamang ang katuwiran ng bawat tao, kundi ang tinatawag nating sanctity of life. Second, the assassination of Police General Wesley Barayuga, na binanggit na ng aming chairman. Witnesses testified that Barayuga was killed under instructions from police officials with a reward of 300,000 pesos given for his murder. Police Colonel Grijaldo, na kinontempo namin sa aming last Quad Comm hearing. Nandito po siya ngayon. Maaari narinig niya. Anong ginawa niya nung siya ang Chief of Police ng Mandaluyong City? Nang general na ito ay pinatay doon sa Mandaluyong, walang police report, walang investigation report, walang ginawa ang Chief of Police na ito. Siya ba'y tinanggal sa pagiging Chief of Police? Hindi, mga kaibigan. Samantalang yan palagi ang SOP ng Philippine National Police. We heard testimony that revealed that police officers had killed quotas and were rewarded for complying with them. Police Lieutenant Colonel Espinido detailed that a 20,000 peso reward was paid per kill. Yan po ang kanyang statement. Our investigation also unearthed cases where the drug war served as a tool to eliminate competition among drug syndicates. Witnesses such as Mr. Kerwin Espinosa and former police officials SPO3 Artunio Las Cañas and Police Colonel Eduardo Acerto revealed the dark reality of a policy that prioritized kill, kill, kill over jail, jail, jail. Mr. Speaker, more data revealed how every effort was made to ensure that those involved in these killings were spared from the consequences of their actions. Of the over 8,351 deaths, the PNP's Internal Affairs Service reported that 99.17% of cases resulted in the exoneration of police officers. Just imagine. Of the 32,803 policemen charged for operations, only 30 were dismissed. These numbers expose a justice system that failed the victims and their families. Out of all this bloodshed, ano naman ang naging impact sa paggamit ng droga? Mr. Speaker, the Dangerous Drugs Board admitted that the drug war resulted in only a slight decline in drug use. The figure of 4 million drug users that former President Duterte cited at the start of his term had no verified basis. Sinabi pa niya na itong si Adolf Hitler pumatay ng 3 milyon ng mga Hudyo. Mali pa ang sinabi niya, 6 million po ang napatay niya. Kaya dapat patayin ang 3 milyon ng mga drug pushers. Ganun po ba ang dapat katawiran ng isang pangulo ng isang democratic country? Hindi po tayo terorista. Hindi tayo komunista. Hindi tayo diktadorya. Tayo po ay demokrasya. Mr. Speaker, as a result of this hearing, we filed House Bill number 10986, an act classifying and penalizing extrajudicial killings as a heinous crime, providing reparation for the victims, and strengthening the mechanism for its prevention. This bill, otherwise known as the Anti-Extrajudicial Killing Act, defines extrajudicial killing as any killing other than that imposed by the state pursuant to the provisions of the Constitution on heinous crimes, or a deliberate and arbitrary killing of any person not authorized by a previous judgment pronounced by a competent court, committed by a public officer, personal authority, agent of a personal authority, or any person who is acting under the actual or apparent authority of the state. Under this measure, extrajudicial killing is classified as a heinous crime, punishable by life imprisonment. Monetary reparation between 250,000 pesos to 500,000 pesos, as well as a non-monetary reparation, will be granted to victims and their families to be determined by the Extrajudicial Killing Claims Board proposed under the bill. Sana po maging batas na po ito. Next, we recommend the passage of a death in custody or under Police Operations Act. This will institutionalize official recording and reporting of deaths during police operations in custody with mandatory annual reports as submitted to Congress, DOJ, and the CHR. The establishment of a national interagency investigative body, an independent agency tasked to investigate EJKs and the other human rights abuses committed by state and non-state actors. The creation of an independent international affairs service that is autonomous to ensure accountability free from the PNP influence. We also recommend the filing of appropriate charges against officials responsible for these atrocities. We recommend that cases be filed under Section 6, Crimes Against Humanity, under the International Humanitarian Law, Republic Act 9851, against former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, former PNP Chief Oscar David Albayalde, and former PNP Chief De Bolsinas, among others. We also recommend reparations for victims of EJKs, strengthening the Commission on Human Rights, and enacting prevention measures to ensure that none of these horrendous abuses to human rights will ever happen again. Mga kababayan, as stewards of justice and as the representatives of our people, it is our moral and sacred duty to hold the perpetrators accountable and to uphold the value of every human life. Nais ko sang sabihin sa inyo na ang distrito ko po ay drug-free. Pero walang napatay. Kahit isa. Pwede naman pala eh. Pwede naman pala na ang isang syudad, ang isang bayan, ang isang distrito, pwedeng mawala ang drugs na hindi mo kinakailangan pumatay. Mga kaibigan, my dear speaker, my dear colleagues, I know that this is a season of giving, love, and forgiveness. And may this also be a season of healing, but never giving up on justice and truth. Maraming salamat po.
Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Our esteemed colleagues, the Honorable Speaker, Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez, will address the body.
Please take your seats, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members. Mga kagalang-galang na kasamahan, mahal kong kababayan, mahal kong kaibigan. As we close this chapter of the 19th Congress for the year, let me first express my profound gratitude to each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Salamat sa malasakit, sa ating mga kababayan. Salamat sa pagtindig sa katotohanan. This is not just another session day. Today is an opportunity to reflect on the year that was. A year of challenges, triumphs, and unrelenting hope. It's a privilege to stand before you, representing a chamber united not just by the authority vested in us, but by the Constitution, but by the collective will to serve the Filipino people. Every single one of us here today has carried a burden, some heavier than others, but all for the singular purpose of uplifting the lives of our fellow Filipinos. Let me take you on a journey as we look back at the immense strides we've made, the battles we've fought together, and the victories that we now celebrate as one house and one nation. When we began this legislative year, we were faced with an uphill battle. Inflation bore down on every Filipino household. Global conflicts sent ripple effects across our shores, and calamities tested us and the resilience of our nation. In an unprecedented and unforeseen turn of events, we were confronted with and tackled matters that may have been the most contentious, grave, and intricate issues of our time. On top of that, climate events and movements in the global market set us back in our targets as these unexpected circumstances demanded our immediate action. Yet, we persevered together. We tackled these challenges head-on, driven by unwavering commitment to the Filipino people. Despite efforts to dim the light on this dignified institution, we held our ground. We refused to be defeated by false accusations and malicious maneuvers driven by self-interest, selfishness, and greed. I have seen the extraordinary resilience of our members. Despite the pressures of legislation and the complexities of the issues that we face and the often painful decisions we must make, you, my colleagues, have never wavered. Thank you. No doubt you have worked tirelessly to address the needs of your constituents, sacrificing time with your families and personal comforts to ensure that no Filipino is left behind. It is not easy to be in public service, but it is in moments like these when the results of our labor manifest in the improved lives of our people that make it all worthwhile. My dear colleagues, your resilience and determination were beyond measure. Throughout this period, we have successfully demonstrated our ability to act decisively and inclusively. Despite the pressures, obstacles, and overbearing weight of our tasks, we never backed down in our commitment to improve the lives of the Filipino people and our respective constituents. This year further displayed the strength of our democracy as we chose to uphold justice, equity, and fairness. In other words, we matched these immense challenges with great achievements. As Mahatma Gandhi said, dignity of human nature requires that we must face the storms of life. And face the storms we did, intelligently, gallantly, and objectively, while relying on the fundamental principles of law. On this note, I would like to commend all the members for your inestimable contribution to this chamber. Thank you again. Your pivotal role in reshaping the course by which the House of Representatives conducts its work and redefining the future of our nation is by far exceptional. Your unwavering dedication to public service, eagerness to engage in debates and discussions, and mutual respect towards one another led the House of Representatives through the enactment of 71 national and 76 local laws since the opening of the 19th Congress. Today, let us celebrate our collective accomplishments, milestones that will leave an indelible mark on our nation's history. Our collaboration and tireless commitment to public service to achieve meaningful progress. The General Appropriations Act of 2025, which we ratified on December 11, is a testament to our commitment to prioritizing the welfare of our people. This is not just a budget. It is a blueprint of hope. It ensures funding for vital programs that bolster economic recovery, create jobs, and provide much-needed relief for struggling families. It is the cornerstone upon which the government operates, the key to supporting President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. in his Bagong Pilipinas program. With the approval of the 2025 GAA, we will be more capable of advocating for the concerns of the underprivileged, pursuing justice for the downtrodden, and formulating policies that foster equality and dignity for all citizens. We ensure that every sector is supported, from agriculture to education, from healthcare to infrastructure. This budget reflects the pulse of the nation, responding to the immediate needs of our people while laying the groundwork for a sustainable future. Alam ng bawat pamilyang Pilipino, mahirap pagkasyahin ang budget para sa araw-araw na kailangan. Bawat miyembro ng pamilya may reklamo sa budget na nakalaan sa kanya. Pero sa kabuuan, ang desisyon ng pamilya ay para sa isang budget na makakabuti para sa lahat. And the same goes for the 2025 General Appropriations Act. While not everyone may be satisfied with the 2025 national budget, it is a budget that mirrors the true needs of our people, not just for daily survival, but for building a stronger foundation for a brighter and better future. Ang budget na ibinigay natin sa mga departments at agencies, yun lang kaya nilang gastusin sa loob ng isang taon, walang labis, walang kulang. On our legislative duties, we have approved 60 out of the 64 common legislative CLA measures, demonstrating our resolve to deliver on our promises. I am proud to report that we successfully passed 27 out of the 28 priority measures identified by the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, the LEDAC, for passage by the end of the 19th Congress. These are not mere numbers. These are solutions to real problems faced by our constituents. Among these, I would like to highlight the National Land Use Act, which will pave the way for better land utilization and food security, and the Public-Private Partnership Act, which will attract investments and boost our economy. I'm quite elated to report that 4 more national and 36 local measures are already awaiting action by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. We have ratified 3 conference committee reports. 5 measures are currently pending with the bicameral conference committee, and about 800 legislative measures approved on 3rd and final reading are awaiting action by the Senate. Since the 19th Congress opened, there were 1,366 measures approved, with 11,232 bills and 2,211 resolutions filed. This year alone, the House of Representatives, together with the Senate, worked hard to enact 51 national and 53 local laws. recently enacted our Republic Act number 12063, or the Enterprise-Based Education and Training, the EBIT Framework Act, RA number 12064, or the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, RA 12065, or the Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act, RA 12066, or the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises to Maximize Opportunities for Reinvigorating the Economy, the Create More Act, and RA 12078, or the amendments to the Agriculture Clarification Act. The House likewise spearheaded the recent enactment of other significant legislative measures, which include RA 12076, or the Ligtas Pinoy Centers Act, RA 12077, or the Student Loan Payment Moratorium During Disasters and Emergencies Act, RA 12079, or the VAT Refund for Non-Resident Tourists Act, and RA 12080, or the Basic Education, Mental Health, and Well-Being Promotion Act. Tapos nang natin lahat ng homework natin para sa taong ito. At sigurado po, mission accomplished tayo sa iba pang batas bago matapos ang termino natin sa 19th Congress sa Hunyo. This year, we have also exercised our oversight functions with diligence and integrity. Our investigations in aid of legislation have uncovered anomalies, held officials accountable, and pushed for reforms to ensure public funds are spent wisely. In the course of our legislative responsibilities, the House of the People remains vigilant in emphasizing the importance of transparency and accountability of public funds, reaffirming our commitment to safeguarding our most precious resources. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of the people resonates through us. As their emissary, let us acknowledge we have a sacred duty to our constituents and the values that bind us as a nation. A better future for the entire nation carries the essence of our duty. Our policies and actions must be designed to bring people together and not divide them, to build instead of destroy, and to develop rather than impede. Nakaabang ang milyong Pilipino sa bawat hearing ng ating Quad Committee at Good Government Committee. Naging sumbungan ang Kongreso ng mga kababayan nating naghahanap ng katarungan at solusyon sa mga katiwalian. Kailangan lang nagsimula na rin ang hearings ng ating Quinta Committee. Tayo natin maghanap ng solusyon kung paano pababain ang presyo ng bigas at iba pang bilihin. The Quinta Comm seeks to address food affordability, accessibility, safety, while also examining the effects of agricultural practices on food production and food insecurity. Its hearings revealed significant instances of large-scale smuggling of agricultural products, manipulation of the prices of rice by traders, and the creation of artificial shortages of rice. These issues highlight specific vulnerabilities in monitoring transactions amongst wholesalers, retailers, and middlemen. Hoarding, the absence of proper monitoring, and other illegal practices have resulted to billions in foregone revenues. These most certainly must be addressed. Kaya naman, hiniling natin sa Executive Department na magbuo ng mega task force laban sa mga kartel na nagmamanipula ng presyo ng bigas at iba pang bilihin. Tutulong tayo sa mega task force na ito sa lahat ng paraan na kaya natin. Hindi tayo titigil hanggat hindi nabubuwag ang mga kartel at ito ay may preso ang mga leader nila. These efforts are not just about uncovering wrongdoing, they are about restoring faith in our institutions and proving that this House of the People stands firmly on the side of transparency, accountability, and justice. The Quad Comm, for its part, remained unwavering in its investigations. Thanks to the valiant efforts of its members, the Quad Comm investigation revealed the apparent temerity and disrespect of those who propagate serious and illegal activities involving pogos, illegal drugs, smuggling, irregularities in the Philippine visa processing, corruption, and accountability. Worse, the perpetrators were fully aware of their catastrophic implications on the government and society, yet they continued to operate without shame. Apart from the Anti-Extrajudicial Killing Act, the Anti-Offshore Gaming Operations Act, the Civil Forfeiture Act, and the fraudulent birth certificate cancellation law filed in response to the Quad Comm's earlier findings, the Joint Committee is currently focused on drafting legislation that addresses evidence fabrication, explores additional accountability measures for law enforcement and officials. The hearings conducted by the Committee on Good Government illuminated the glaring and egregious ill use of the government's confidential funds. The extent of the funds' misuse and the clear absence of accountability shown through fabricated documents, falsified liquidation reports, and spurious acknowledgement receipts reveal how some shameless individuals blatantly disregard the rule of law and betray the public trust. Stricter measures for fund release and enhanced auditing policies must be implemented. Transparency in the General Appropriations Act must always be pursued. As a result, two proposed bills emerged from the hearings. One, to regulate the use of confidential funds and impose penalties for its misuse. And another, to define qualifications and penalties for special disbursing officers who violate the provisions of the law. Next year, the House of Representatives will also conduct a thorough and impartial investigation into how PhilHealth's funds are being managed. But this investigation is not about blame. It's about finding solutions. Our goal is clear: to ensure that every peso in PhilHealth's coffers works for the benefit of the members, the hardworking Filipino people who contribute month after month. If this investigation reveals that existing funds are being underutilized or are in excess of what is needed for current operations, we will pursue the following recommendations. 1, further expand benefits for members until we reach the vision of zero billing in all hospitals. We will also ensure that PhilHealth provides expanded healthcare coverage, including additional medical services, hospitalization support, and better benefits for those in need. Number 2, further reduce premium contributions for workers and employers burdened by rising costs. We will explore reducing premiums while maintaining PhilHealth's capacity to deliver its services. 3, suspend premium payments for 1 year. If funds remain stable and in surplus, we will recommend a 1-year suspension of premium payments for all paying members. This will serve as a form of relief to millions of Filipinos already grappling with inflation and rising prices. Why are we doing this? Because the Filipino deserve no less. PhilHealth. PhilHealth exists to provide security and comfort in times of medical emergencies. It should not hoard resources at the expense of its members. If we can alleviate the burden of contributions without compromising its sustainability, we will do so. As we face the daunting challenges of inflation, global conflict, and natural disasters, this House will also stand firm in defending the provision of ayuda for the people. Let me share the story of a single mother from Samar who, during the height of rising prices, relied on financial assistance to keep her children fed and in school. She represents millions of Filipinos whose lives have been touched by our legislative efforts. To those who doubted the importance of social safety nets, let this be a reminder. Ayuda is not charity, it is justice. It is our duty to ensure that no Filipino falls through the cracks, especially in times of crisis. This is what governance means, not merely passing laws, but ensuring that these laws translate into hope and dignity for every Filipino family. Sa mga kontra sa ayuda, handang ipakita ng administrasyong ito kung saan napunta ang bawat sentimong inilaan para rito. Ang mga may hawak ng pondo, ang mga departamento tulad ng DSWD, DOLE at DOH, sila ang nagpapatakbo ng mga programa, hindi ang Kongreso. Lahat ng programa ito may totoong benepisyaryo, may totoong resibo. Walang notice of disallowance mula sa Commission on Audit. Ang trabaho ng Kongreso, tiyakin ang pondo rito at masiguro na nakakarating ng maayos sa mga benepisyaryo. Our legislative agenda this year has been centered on economic recovery and growth. By passing measures that promote job creation, support small and medium enterprises, and attract foreign investments, we have laid the foundation for a more robust and inclusive economy. But we also recognize that the work is far from over. Inflation continues to affect the daily lives of our constituents. Families still struggle to put food on the table, and young Filipinos dream of a future free from poverty. Alam natin ang problema sa araw-araw ng ating mga kababayan. Kausap natin sila sa mga panahong nasa distrito tayo. Kaya naman hindi tayo tumitigil na humanap ng solusyon sa mga problemang ito. As we move forward, this House will continue to champion policies that address these concerns. Policies that provide opportunities, alleviate burdens, and inspire hope. In its Philippines Economic Update report released this December, the World Bank indicates that the Philippines will continue to make progress in reducing poverty. As a result of robust economic growth and rising real household incomes, poverty incidence is projected to decline from 15.5% in 2023 to 13.6% in 2024, before falling further to 11.3% by 2026. Additionally, Philippine economic growth is projected to grow at an average 6% annually from 2024 to 2026. Inflation decreased to 3.2% this year, down from 6.2% a year ago. The fiscal deficit fell to 5.1% of gross domestic product in the last 3 quarters of 2024, attributed to the government's fiscal consolidation agenda. In its labor force survey, the Philippine Statistics Authority stated that our unemployment rate in October 2024 decreased to 3.9%, down from 4.2% in October of last year. The employment rate was at a whopping 96.1%, higher than October of 2023 employment rate of 94.3%. Thus, our country remains among the fastest growing economies in the region. If we must sustain these gains, we must continue advancing digital technology, investing in human capital, and implementing bold reforms in our monetary policies. As the holiday season approaches, let us be reminded of what Christmas truly means: hope, love, and unity. It is a time to reconnect with our loved ones, to find joy in the simplest moments, and to draw strength from the relationships that anchor us. It is also a time to extend compassion to those who have less: the families displaced by typhoons, to workers struggling to make ends meet, and to the children yearning for a brighter tomorrow. Let us cherish the opportunity to practice introspection, kindness, and compassion. May we be reminded that even in the bleakest of periods, enlightenment may triumph. Christmas also urges us to connect with others, fortify our relationships, and conceive a more promising future for all. We, as legislators, possess a distinct opportunity to exemplify the essence of Christmas in our actions. The birth of Christ urges us to embrace unity, tolerance, humility, and generosity. I take this moment to commend all of you, the members of this august chamber, the Secretariat, the congressional staff, for your acts of selflessness and excellent service that exemplify the best of the House of Representatives and the country. This Christmas season, may we be renewed in our resolve to create a society rooted in hope, love, and peace. Most of all, let us celebrate the principles that unite us as a nation. We hope that 2025 will be a more optimistic year, bringing us a step closer to realizing our shared aspirations for a stronger and better Philippines. To my colleagues, I urge you to take this time to rest, reflect, and recharge. You have given so much of yourselves this year, and you deserve this moment to celebrate with your families. To our kababayans, I ask you to hold on to hope. The challenges we face today will not define us. Our resilience, our unity, and our love for one another will. As we adjourn for the year, let us carry with us the lessons and the victories and the challenges of 2024. Let us commit to returning in January with the same passion, the same resolve, and the same heart for public service. I thank you, my colleagues, for your dedication and partnership. I thank our people for their trust and faith in this institution, and I thank the Almighty for guiding us in this sacred duty. Together, we build a brighter, a more prosperous, a more united nation. Damo nga salamat. Salamat hin madamo. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, indeed, it was a productive and fruitful year for the House of the People. With that, Mr. Speaker, I move to adjourn session until January 13, 2025, Monday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Happy holidays.
Motion approved. Session adjourned.
Okay po, tingin to.
Yes po, yes po ako. Okay po, okay po. Kita po. Kita po, kita po. Kita po. Ready po. Ready. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Yes. 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 Okay. Woo. Yes. Yes.
Okay, let's go.